Order. Order.
Welcome to Political Ringside, where analysis from the front row. This is where politics meet energy, clarity, and nonsense insights. My name is Ashley Wanjiku. Today we are shining a spotlight on one ODM Secretary General, that is Edwin Sifuna. Should we say former Secretary General or current Secretary General? We are going to specifically shine our spotlight on something. Was his removal orchestrated by the government, or was it an ODM matter? Having the fact that CS Mbadi had somehow noted that he will be removed from the ODM a day prior. So today we have an insider from the ODM Youth League. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
Introduce yourself to the viewers.
Davis Oluoch Odhiambo, famously known as Davis bin Oluoch. I've been a member of the ODM party for the last 6 years. I've been working as a researcher for the ODM Youth League and for the ODM party in Matters Youth for the last 6 years. And up to date, we are still there. We are still yet to know how ODM will go. From Kisumu, naturally, from somewhere called Nyakash constituency. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's dive deeper. So Edwin Sifuna was arguably a critic of President Ruto inside the ODM. Would you agree?
Actually, Edwin Sifuna, I think, came into the party in the year 2013. And he was a journalist, actually. I think working with Standard newspaper or something. And then the former Prime Minister Raila saw him there and saw the writings of Edwin Sifuna on the newspaper and picked him, brought him into the party. And in the year 2018, Edwin Sifuna took over as the Secretary General of the ODM party. 2018 to 2026, that's about 8 years, Edwin Sifuna has been the Secretary General of the ODM party. And I can tell you, currently, Edwin Sifuna has been one of the fiercest of critics of the president and of the government. But not only him, very many of others. We have Caleb Amisis and the Babu Owinos are there, and the Winnie Odingas. So he's been on the forefront criticizing president and the government.
Okay. So the president publicly hinted that Sifuna will politically be disciplined. Was that just rhetoric?
I think I can say it was a balance of both things. It was a balance of rhetoric and it was a balance of a kind of message. You know, they say everything in politics happens for a reason.
True.
Nothing's happened accidentally. So I think it was a message, but it was also rhetoric. And President Ruto, I understand him. He wants the ODM bases to vote him in the 2027 elections, more so after the departure of Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. And Rigathi Gachagua has a big control in the mountain. And now the president has to shift his focus to the Nyanza region. So that's why Honorable William Samoei Ruto wants the support base of the former ODM bases to support him. And any person who's a hindrance to this aspiration of the president is an enemy of the president in court. So that is why the president had to kind of warn, but he was using a lighter language because that was an ODM forum and he's not an ODM member currently, the president. So the president hinted that, but it wasn't a serious thing. It was a joke. I can say that. Yes.
Okay, so when a sitting president signals action against a different political party, doesn't that raise a concern?
What I can say, Ashley, is that it wasn't a professional kind of thing. Like he didn't call a press conference and say that today I want to address the issue of ODM, but next week we are starting with Honorable Edwin Sifuna. We'll remove him from the presidency. It was kind of a joke. And so we took it as a joke, all of us. So what I can say is that I cannot like crucify the president or judge him on that. That was a pure joke. But what I can say is that we have to carefully dig down and say, as a party and as members of the party, dig down and say, is there a hand of the president in what happened to the former, to the Secretary General, Honorable Edwin Sifuna. But that was a joke, and I actually want to take it as that.
As a joke?
Yes.
Okay, did ODM leadership ever discuss the remarks internally? Those remarks?
You see, actually, ODM has organs. We have the Central Management Committee, and there sits 15 people, including the party leader, the deputies, the Secretary General, the Executive Director, who's an ex-officio member, I think, and several others, the Director of Campaigns, and the Youth League President, and the Women League President. And we also have a NEC, the National Executive Committee, that sat down last week at Vipingo in Malindi to remove the Secretary General. We have a National Governing Council that I think sits about 200 people. We have a National Delegates Conference, and of late you've had politics around National Delegates Conference, the NDC. And we have other organs apart from now the mainstream organs. We have a Youth League that's functional. And I think Youth League is sitting today and part of tomorrow to discuss the internal party issues. We have a Women League, and we have a PWD League, and we have a Secretariat. So I don't think, Ashley, and I've just told you that this was a joke. I don't think if a serious organ of the party can just sit down and discuss that the president said this, can we put this as an agenda? You see, ODM is a very big political party, and there are very many issues that we need to discuss. There were issues of by-elections that were being discussed in the party. There are issues of NDC that should be discussed. There's the issue of the party leader, the demise of the former party leader that were being discussed. There were very many issues, including the issues of the Youth League, how we can revamp the Youth League. So I think it was not discussed formally. But of course, there were informal talks about that kind of conversation, that kind of talk from the president. There were informal talks, but I don't think it was an agenda in any formal organs of the party.
Okay.
Yes.
So let us see Mbadi's role in the whole situation. So CS John Mbadi openly said that Sifuna will be removed from his position, and exactly a day later he was removed. What are your remarks on the same? Was it really a coincidence?
John Mbadi was or has been the longest serving chairperson of the Orange Democratic Movement Party. And John Mbadi left office as chairperson when he was given to the government as an expert to go and head the Ministry of Treasury and Economic Planning. And I want to tell you, Ashley, and I want you to go back to 2024, part of 2025, and part of 2023. There were talks about Raila Odinga going to the AUC. And there were people who had started fighting for the soul of ODM. And there were conversations that Joho could be party leader and Oparanya. Then there were the two deputies. And we had John Mbadi also fighting with Opiyo Wandayi for the control of the Luo Nyanza caucus. There were the two big wigs. And then came AUC, and then AUC went away and came broad-based government. And you see, Honorable Oparanya was given to the government as an expert, and Honorable Joe was given to the government as an expert. And Mbadi and Wandayi, all of them were given to the government as an expert. And so these people were serving President Ruto and Kenya Kwanza government. And now there came a question about 2027. John Mbadi and Opiyo Wandayi were in the wing that was supporting that ODM should do what? Should support President Ruto for 2027 elections. There was another wing in the party, headed by Sifunas and the Winnies, that believed that actually we can give a stab to the presidency in 2027. And the John Mbadis were opposed to that. So, in line with the aspiration of John Mbadi and the team, that ODM should support the president, Honorable Edwin Sifuna was a hindrance to this aspiration. So, of course, John Mbadi, in his own aspiration, was just right to say that they want Edwin Sifuna kicked out. So, actually, to give you a direct answer in this, what I feel is that there was some impatience in the John Mbadi's team, that why are these people still entertaining Edwin Sifuna? And I'm feeling in John Mbadi's eye and in his soul, he was saying, if I was still the chairperson of ODM, I could have kicked Honorable Sifuna out like very fast or early enough. So what I think, and what I'm very sure, is that the likes of John Mbadi, who still, John Mbadi, when they were leaving those positions, they were giving their stooges, and they knew that once their terms as cabinet ministers ends, they will come back to the party and hold their same positions. So I'm very sure that the likes of John Mbadi will call the current party leadership and tell them, why are you still entertaining him? Because they're still friends, they still know each other, and they still control the party in a way. So I have a feeling that John Mbadi did not have a direct influence, but they had indirect influence. They used to, I'm very sure they will call the new party leadership, tell them, why are you people still entertaining Sifuna? Why are you still doing this? Do this very fast. You people are very weak. If it were me, I could have kicked him out very fast. So I'm very sure they had an indirect influence, but I don't think it was direct.
Do you think Mbadi is speaking as a cabinet secretary aligned with the government, or as former ODM chair, or as an ODM elder?
John Mbadi first is speaking as a President Ruto's employee. Because that is where his bread is today. And John Mbadi wants to be deputy president in 2027. An aspiration that I partly support. So John Mbadi is also looking himself as a potential presidential candidate in the year 2032. And we might support him. But John Mbadi should also focus to be the cabinet secretary, because we want a stable economy. So John Mbadi is speaking as a member of ODM, that's number one, and as a former chairperson, that's number two. And he's also speaking as a person who wants to use ODM, a stronger ODM, to climb to the ladder of deputy presidency and even presidency if possible. But I think it is incorrect or inappropriate for Honorable John Mbadi to kind of rule us from outside. Because we have a stable leadership as a political party, he should allow the new leadership to take over and to give the party the direction that they feel ought to be given. So I think it is inappropriate, but I think he's speaking on all angles as a former leader of the party and as a member of the party still. And as a person who has aspiration, individual aspiration, but he wants to use the party as a vehicle. Yes.
Okay. So was Mbadi's statement, did that signal that something had already been decided?
You see, NEC consists of about 42 people, or 44, I'm not so sure. But it is about 45 there. It is a maximum of 45, minimum of 40. And John Mbadi is not a NEC member currently of the Orange Democratic Movement Party. William Samoei Ruto is not a NEC member of the Orange Democratic Movement Party. But what I want to admit is that there's something always called deep state. Have you ever heard of deep state?
I know.
So I think John Mbadi and co view themselves as the deep state of the Orange Democratic Movement Party. And they feel that they can control ODM from wherever angle they are. Whether they are in Russia or in Canada, they still make calls. So I think there is a wing in ODM and outside ODM that felt that Honorable Sifuna was a hindrance to their aspirations. And so they indirectly made calls to the party leadership that you need to call a NEC and you need to remove Sifuna. That one, as a political analyst, as someone who've analyzed politics for quite a relative long time, I can say that one with authority, that I knew they had a hand, but an indirect hand. And they were the majority. That one you have to give to them. And even in that NEC, they're the majority. And they're the people with money. And they're the people with power. So that even if there were 10, they could coerce another 10 to do what? To vote for their will. And even if the opposers were many, you see people fear power and influence. They could use threats and fear. And I saw another article by one of the senior members of the party saying that there were some other members of the NEC who who were viewed to be supporting Sifuna, who are not invited to the NEC. Because even in the invitations, they have the party machinery. They are the people who print the invitation cards of the NEC members. So I think they used all means necessary. And of course, Ashley, I agree. They had already made a decision that they want to Sifuna out. But now they wanted to just do it legally at the neck. But I know it is something that decided that now it's enough, is enough. I think it's time we do away with him. Yes.
So did any government actor push for this outcome behind the scene?
I've said that.
It was orchestrated behind the scene.
What I'm saying actually is that President William Ruto wants a strong ODM that supports him. And Honorable Edwin Sifuna was against that. Honorable Babu Owino was against that. Honorable Caleb Hamisi was against that. Honorable Winnie Odinga was against that. And now, ODM want to go into negotiation with President Ruto. And then President Ruto will ask you. And that's what I'm saying. It could have been direct or indirect. President Ruto gave them a challenge that if you want to negotiate with me, then organize your house. If your house is not organized, then you will not get the plum positions you want on the negotiating table. Then Edwin Sifuna was the hindrance. They have been given a challenge. The president was just somewhere watching them. And now it is time to act. So what they wanted is, let us remove these interests. That is what they thought. They thought that once they remove Honorable Edwin Sifuna, they will have the freedom to do whatever they want. And then now they control the masses, and now they will speak in one voice, and now they will bargain on a table in one voice. There's a shock on them, and then I cannot lie to you, because Sifuna actually has emerged again like a phoenix, that now today Sifuna controls a majority of the people, and today Sifuna has ganged up with Babu, and they are with Orengo, and they are with Hamisi, and there are several members of parliament from Kisii region, and they are probably with Winnie Odinga, and they're mounting another faction and a bigger one. They didn't see that coming. So yes, President William Ruto there's a hand of President William Ruto in this. That one I'm not lying. But it could be direct or indirect. That maybe he said that, no, you people, you are wasting time. Sifuna is dragging us behind. Can you do something? Maybe he could have made that call to Dr. Oburu, or to Chairperson Wanga, or to any other person. Or maybe it was indirect. That now people are nearing negotiations, and President Ruto gave them a task, and they are being seen as weaklings. They cannot put this task to completion. So they had to also do what? To make a decision, but because they had been given a task by the president. So there is a hand of President Ruto, indirectly or directly. Okay. Yes.
Let's dive into Raila, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. When he was alive, Sifuna openly disagreed with senior party figures and the broad-based deal and survived. What has changed now?
What has changed is that Raila is not here. And you see, and actually I can tell you for a fact, is that Raila was a mysterious person. And there was mystery in 2027. Because the last speech Raila gave was at a parliamentary group meeting of the ODM of the ODM party. Parliamentary group meeting is another organ of the party, though not so formal, but it consists of the senators, the governors, the members of parliament, and majority leaders of the county assemblies who were elected on an ODM ticket. And what Baba said that day is that, who told you that ODM will not produce a presidential candidate? Why do you want to put people into things that have not been negotiated? So what I can tell you is that there was a camp in the ODM Democratic Movement Party that wanted the party to support President Ruto in the year 2027. And you know the ringleaders of that camp. They are the Johos, the Mbadis, the Wandais, the Wangas. They wanted the party to go the Ruto way. There was another camp, when Baba was still alive, that wanted the party to field its own presidential candidate. There are the Winnies, the Sifunas, the Babus, and several other people. So what changed is that when Baba died, now the camp that wanted ODM to support President Ruto emerged. And they are the majority, Ashley. And they're the people with the money, they're the people with the state influence. And they have taken over the machinery of the party. So what happens is that they have elevated their narrative. And the narrative of the people who want ODM to go alone have been suppressed. So what happens actually is that this other camp is very impatient. They want us to support President Ruto now. So they are suppressing the team that are saying we can't support President Ruto, and that is why they have to remove who? Edwin Sifuna. So if Baba was still alive, Edwin Sifuna could have survived because Baba still had his cards on his chest and he was still weighing on all these probabilities. And so if these people who are saying Baba, let us support William Ruto, would have won, even Baba, if Baba was still alive, I believe Sifuna badangeenda, sikudanganyi, like ingefika mahali, but ingekuwa sahi mapema, because it could have reached a time that ODM could have made a decision that either we are supporting President Ruto or we are going alone, or we are supporting the united opposition. So what I'm saying is that ingefika that time enye party ingesema we are supporting President Ruto, then Sifuna bado angeenda. Because I remember, and you have to remember, Sifuna had said earlier that I will read all the resolutions of the party, including the one that abuses me. But that day, when you people will support President Ruto, that resolution I will not read. And even if Baba was here, if we were to go to and support President Ruto, I believe Sifuna wouldn't have supported or wouldn't have been the Secretary General. So I'm just thinking it just came so fast with this team because they couldn't agree to Sifuna's divergent opinions.
Okay, so was Raila a firewall that protected the internal dissent within the ODM?
I don't know. I will.
Was he a glue?
You see, Baba, people respected Baba. And I remember there's a time as a youth league, we had taken a proposal to the National Governing Council to give the party a new league. A league with people between 35 to 45 wanted a league of themselves for themselves. They wanted to call it ODM Young Turks. Because now we have an ODM youth league. I've told you we have an ODM youth league, we have a women league, we have a PWD league, and we have the mainstream. So they wanted to introduce a Young Turks league. And I remember people voting, and people had voted unanimously to support that decision. But Baba was not amused, and he stood there and he said, no, if you're out of the youth league, you are out. Go and vie with other people on a level basis. It cannot be that you are in the youth league and blah, blah, blah. So that one cannot happen. And I remember Mbadi, he was the chairperson of that NEC. He was the chairperson of the party then. He just stood there and said, I know we have voted on this, but because Baba has spoken, we have to respect his decision. So actually I can say that people respected Baba. And that is why he could balance all these opinions. And actually opinions were there even when Baba was still alive. So, but Baba knew how to balance those opinions. So what I can say is that, yes, Baba was a firewall, but we have to find a solution. Yes.
So was there a concern that Sifuna attack were jeopardized by the ODM working relationship with the government? And before we get to that question, has his absence created a vacuum that external forces can exploit, the absence of Baba?
I must admit that we lost Baba and we didn't know. Rajua, if you knew that Baba is going to die in October, maybe we could have drew a strategy for that, strategy post Raila. But we didn't know he's going to die, so then we didn't have a blueprint of what happens post Raila.
Okay.
And since the inception of ODM in the year 2005, we have not known a life without Raila. He only went to the AUC for 1 week and came back, and we still had him. So there is a gap. That one I can't lie. There's a gap that Baba left. But actually, I think as a political party, we need to come up with a solution. Parties world over, I can tell you there is an ANC in South Africa that was founded in the year 1912. 1912, that's 100 and plus years. There is a Democratic Party and the Republican Party in America. They were founded in 1800s. They are 200 years plus. They are still existing. So I think this was time to rejuvenate ODM and to give ODM kind of a council to drive ODM. Like, not, I don't like this idea of one man show, of individual politics, that if that individual is not there, then the party will not proceed. So I think we need to refine our leadership now that Baba is not there, and know how we can live and continue without him. So I think there is a gap, but I think there is something we can do.
So surely there is possible exploitation within the ODM party.
There is, but I don't think it should be. Yes, there is, but I don't think it should be, because Baba had mentored a lot of people. I don't know why it's getting difficult to just sit down, all of them, and agree on this and this and this framework. And they have all the blueprints of Baba. They have the manifestos of ODM since 2007. They have the constitution of ODM since 2007. They have Baba's memoirs. Baba had written a lot of memoirs. And even Baba had written, I think, in 2012, and how he views politics and how he views the country. I don't know why they can't just read all this and then say, we have to continue with this legacy of Raila Odinga. I think it's a mistake of the governor, of the leadership of the ODM party. I think it's a mistake. I think we shouldn't be exploited, because we have been built over time.
Okay.
Yes.
I know you've answered this question, but if Baba were alive today, would Sifuna still be the Secretary General?
Of course. That one I can answer with surety. If Baba were alive, because after all, we are not going to have this issue of we have agreed we are going to enter a negotiation with UDA. Now, you see, we went into negotiations with Azimio 3 months to an election. We picked running mate 3 months to an election. We formalized Azimio coalition 3 months to that election. NASA the same in 2017. CORD the same in 2013. So I knew, or I know, up to date, at this time, we are still at the early days of election. We still like 1 year and some 8 months to this election. So Sifuna could have still been the Secretary General of ODM if Baba was here. Okay. Yes.
So has any ODM leader met State House in the days leading up to this discussion?
Sorry?
Has ODM leaders met in State House since this discussion started about the removal of the Sifuna as the Secretary General?
I don't know. That one I will be lying if I say that I know. But I've heard rumors that there have been meetings.
Okay.
Ashley, I don't know. That one I will be lying if I say that I know they went to State House on such and such a day.
Okay.
Yes.
So was there a concern that Sifuna's attack were jeopardizing ODM's working relationship with the government?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Are we witnessing the quiet taming of ODM from a firebrand opposition party to something else?
No, we are not being tamed. But actually, those problems are internal. They are not external. Most of those problems, it is our own doing. It is not the government's doing or President Ruto's doing or blah, blah, blah. If today we were to say that we are going back to the streets, it is our own decision. If today we were to say that we still remain in the opposition, as you put it, we could have still done the same. It's only that members pia wengine pia wamechoka. And I agree with them. Wengine wamechoka kwenda kwa streets. They have been there for the longest. And they are saying that now, wacha wengine pia waende kwa street. And unaangalia ukweli unasema, maybe they have a point. You see? So, it is their own choosing. It is not an external choice. And so I think as we go forward, we will know.
Okay.
But actually what I said here when I was here the last time is that there's no political party that's built for opposition. You see, in America, there are two political parties. In the United States, there's the Democrats and the Republicans. Currently, Republicans are the majority, and Democrats are playing the opposition role. So what happens is that in the last 4 years, Joe Biden and Democrats were the majority. They were the government. The Republicans were playing the opposition role. There is no political party that completely says that we want to form a political party that will be in the opposition. So what happens is that when a party is founded, they are founded on ideologies and their positions of political parties and their centers. You see, there is a far left political party. Those are radicals. And while they don't meet eye to eye with their competitors, then there is a center left. Center left are liberals or progressives. That is where ODM is. Then there is the left, or there is the center. And then on the right, there is the far right. Those are conservatives. They don't want to hear anything about progression or liberalism, CG, all these things, woke generation, blah, blah, blah. They are conservatives. They are conserving the traditions. Then there is the center right. Center right are conservative, but they are partially conservative. So those are positions. Then there are ideologies. They are conservatives and they're liberals and they are Democrats. So ODM is a center-left social democratic movement party. So what you're asking Ashley, or what you should be asking Ashley, is that has ODM moved out of his ideology, not out of government to opposition and blah, blah, blah. What should happen is that the ideologies of ODM, whether we are in opposition at that time or in government, should be upheld anywhere we go. Whether we are in the county government of Homa Bay, whether we are in the county government of Kisumu, the ideology should guide us. That ODM promised to linda social justice. ODM promised to protect devolution. ODM swore into to rights. So those are the values that guide ODM. So if we let the guard on the values, that is what we should be asked. But you cannot say that ODM should not win an election and be in government because now they will be absconding the opposition roles. We were not founded to be an opposition party. We were founded to form government either by self or by coalition of political parties to make sure that this country become prosperous, become just, and we are at liberty. Yes.
But you previously mentioned that low-key, the President William Ruto has orchestrated the removal of Edwin Sifuna as the Secretary General. Why is that you are not very sure if they have met in the State House in the recent days upon recent events?
I don't know. I met President Ruto last year at the ODM at 20 celebrations. So, and he was invited. And he was invited even when Baba was still alive. And Honorable Ruto was invited. Honorable Kalonzo was invited. And he said he will not be coming. And President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was invited, former president, and he sent an apology. And all the founding members of ODM were invited to that party. So I would say, because there have been claims, of course. Sifuna has said that some of the ODM leadership met President Ruto in Kilgoris and in State House and blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, the Junet faction has also said that Sifuna met Uhuru Kenyatta and sought somewhere they want to sell the party. But none absolutely has come out to substantiate those claims. So I cannot say expressly that they have met. But what I know that they communicate, yes.
But we can finalize by saying there have been possible meetups. Moving forward. Okay, so moving forward,
yes.
Is the broad-based deal working against the ODM's brand and philosophy?
I will say yes or no. First, because what is broad-based? Broad-based came in after the Gen Z thing, and Baba had proposed that we have an intergenerational conclave, which I really supported. I even wrote strategies on how that conclave could be. and presented to Baba, and he liked it. And we were supposed to do that intergenerational conclave. But the Gen Zs on the street said, no, we don't want any talk. None whatsoever. With a president that is killing us, we are not going to go into any talk. So after that, ODM said, let us give our experts to their country. You see, Ashley, there's something called bipartisanship. That if today Al-Shabaab attacks the nation, if today Al-Shabaab attacks this nation, today, you cannot come in as an opposition and say, oh, Naruto venye amefanya, sasa tunakuwa attacked. You first come together as a country and as all leaders from all factions and find a solution. After that, after we have cured that problem, then you can come and criticize President Ruto and tell President Ruto you are incompetent. But after we have solved the problem. So what happens is that at that time, the country was headed to the wrong direction. And ODM as a political party, as a player, and Baba as a parent, as a father of the nation, came to offer guidance to the country. So what happens is that we gave them our experts. And actually what happened is that we had something called the 10-point agenda. And those 10-point agenda talks about, I want you to go and read the 10-point agenda. Talks about equality, compensation of victims, diversity, devolution. There are issues that are key to the citizen of this country. So actually, the brand of ODM, I've told you, we are a social democratic party. We fight for social justice, freedoms, and those 10-point agenda are addressing those issues. So actually, this question you will ask me after March of 7th, because we signed a 1-year contract with UDA, and we told them that these 10 points, you must address them. And if you don't address them, then we will give another direction to our supporters. So we are still within the scope of what the party, as per the ideology, wants us. But by 7th of March, if these 10-point agendas are not addressed, then we will give our supporters a direction.
Okay, so with all this integration with the President William Ruto, so what meaningfully distinguishes ODM from today UDA?
UDA first is United Democratic Alliance. ODM is Orange Democratic Movement Party. UDA is a center-right political party. UDA is a conservative political party. ODM is a liberal political party. We have orange color. UDA as a yellow color. In terms of ideology, ODM is still following the 10-point agenda that we gave the president. I don't know what UDA is following. I think they are following bottom-up economic magic. So those are the differences. So, and there are very big differences about ODM and UDA. And of course, actually, I'll say the members of ODM that today think that them and UDA are the same. But there are ardent members of ODM who think that this is not the right way. We need to focus on our ideology and revamp our party and build our party. Actually, we have our own manifesto. We have our own manifesto in 2022, and there are things that we promised Kenyans that if we get government, we will deliver. Those things, we are still true to them. Yes.
So basically, what meaningfully distinguishes you from UDA is the colors.
What meaningfully distinguishes us is the ideology.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Moving forward, if ODM removes its loudest government critic, what makes it an opposition party?
If ODM?
If ODM removes its loudest government critic, what will make it an opposition party?
You see, actually, you are making a mistake. Because I told you ODM is not an opposition party. There is no party that is just founded. No, actually,
when Baba was
actually,
alive,
let me answer. There's no party that is being formed that now we are forming banana political party today, and our role will be to be an opposition party. No. I wish I had my documents, the ODM here, all the founding documents, so that I can read for you the vision of the ODM party and the mission of the ODM party and the objectives of the ODM party. But in part, let me take you back. You see, in 1963, we had a prayer country at Uhuru Gardens, and we prayed for unity, we prayed for justice, we prayed for liberty, we prayed for prosperity. O God of all creation, bless this nation, justice be our shield, liberty be found, plenty be found within our borders. So ODM picks that line and comes up with its vision that ODM wants to see a just. I don't have the exact words of the vision statement of ODM, but ODM says it prays for a just country, a country of liberty and a prosperous nation and a shared prosperity. And that is the vision. Then there is a mission. Mission is to capture state power by legal means, of course, with its members as a political party itself or with coalition partners. And then after capturing that power, they better the situation of citizens. That is the mission of ODM. Then I've told you about the ideology of ODM. ODM is a center-left, social, democratic movement party. There is nowhere, absolutely nowhere, in our party documents, whether it be it in the constitution or our policy documents, and I've read all of them, or even in our manifestos, that say that ODM will be founded in our year 2005 and we will be an opposition political party. So what happens is, Ashley, I want to ease in your work. ODM is not an opposition party, but we have ideals. We have values. We value social justice. We value freedoms, including freedoms of expression, right to life, and all the freedoms. ODM fought for this constitution, and we are committed to the rule of law. ODM is committed to devolution, and we are even saying that let us get it out of 15% share of the national cake to the counties, let us improve it to 35%. Those are the ideals of ODM, amongst very many. So, and equality. ODM espouses that we see a Kenya that the prosperity is shared. The national cake is shared equally. So, what happens, Ashley, is that it does not depend. One day ODM will get power and be in government. So you want to tell me that we form power, we win an election, Ashley, we win an election today, and tomorrow we say, no, we are running away from that government because we are an opposition political party. But so why are we going to an election then?
When Baba was alive,
yes,
you presented yourself as an opposition party where you're criticizing Ruto's government. So how is right now ODM not an opposition party?
Ashley, I want you to go and read the constitution.
It was your perception to the public.
Okay.
Speaking as
now, I'm not telling you about the perception. Now I'm telling you what is there.
The reality.
Now the reality is there is a constitution that we had from 1960s. That was the constitution that we got from Lancaster House, and we gave Kenya, or the people who were there gave Kenya a new constitution. What the ODM party was envisioning in the new constitution is that we will have a parliamentary system of government. But say we have a semi-presidential, is semi-parliamentary. So that the people who are supposed to be in opposition is parliament. Parliament is the institution that is supposed to be checking the executive. They are supposed to be playing that role of opposition. And then you see, in BBI, there was something called the official office of the opposition and the office of the prime minister, and even in NADCO. So until there is a creation of office of the opposition party or of the opposition party leader, that is when you can say authoritatively that we have an opposition party. So the institution that has failed, Ashley, is the parliament. The parliament has failed. So that one you will also say after me. The parliament has failed. So what ODM does is just coming in. ODM just comes in because now we have values as a political party. And we're saying, no, this is going on in the country and it is not good and it is not in tandem with our values. So we have to tell President Ruto that this is not in tandem with our values. So it is not that we are an opposition party. We're just doing doing what we are supposed to do. So what happens is that, and I've told you this, there are differences of opinion in ODM. And that's why it's a democratic political party. The people who are feeling that we have opposed the government for too long. We have checked the government for too long. It is time we also get into government and get our fair share of the national cake. And there's another cohort that says that no, we were founded on the streets, not on pillow talk. We have to fight this government. So, of course, there is an imbalance of ideology in the party currently. And what I feel is that we need to have an internal party meeting and espouse our ideology and say that this party was founded on this and this and this. This camp where you are you in that camp? Is that camp in tandem with our ideologies and our values? And then this other camp will also come and say, these are our values. Can you compare them with where you are currently? And then we need to have one party position. Okay. Yes.
So are we seeing the erosion of ODMs and autonomy in real time?
What did you say?
Are we seeing the erosion of ODM's autonomy in real time?
No, there's no erosion. People come up with the crazy words to describe ODM. People are coming with, we have factions in ODM. ODM is, now we've come up with a new term. ODM is not eroding. What I can tell you, Nani, Ashley, is that, and let me give examples. We have a political party called ANC. ANC is in South Africa. So ANC was formed in 1912. And then ANC had the likes of Mandela coming up and forming. You know, Mandela was a youth league president of ANC at some point, and they had to disagree with the party to come up with that youth league because the party was full of the Walter Sisulus who are a little bit aged. So what happens, Ashley, is that after early 2000s. There were very strong people in ANC, the likes of Malema. You know Julius Malema? Yeah. And the Mbuyiseni Ndlozis, they broke out with the party and they formed another party called EFF currently. So there are moments in the party. There are moments that people disagree. So it depends with the extent of the disagreement. But there are extents that people disagree in the party. Talk about the Democrats in the America. Democrats had Biden as their presidential candidate, and people disagreed with Biden even internally, and they told Biden, you are too old, you cannot run this political party, you have to step down for Kamala Harris. Yeah. And that was a disagreement. Recently we've had Rigathi Gachagua being pushed out of UDA. In fact, pushed out of deputy presidency, impeached, and then pushed out. Then after that, we've had Malala. There was no big sensationalism. There was no big words like erosions and factions. People just moved on. I don't know why this ODM thing has become so big. I think ODM is a very big party. You need to build as a statue here. So what I'm telling you is that ODM has like 8 million members. You cannot tell me that every day we will agree on one thing. In fact, even in a house of 3 people, you disagree. So sometimes we will disagree. And this is that time that we must disagree on some issues. And we are disagreeing on a lot of things, including generational goals. That one generation is feeling that it is time for us to take over. Another generation is saying that no, we are the carriers of wisdom. We cannot leave it to you. So, but it is normal for any political party. Any big political party has had moments like this. And ODM is having its moment. I'm very sure we shall overcome.
I believe and hope so too. So if all of these things were purely internal, why does the outcome align so perfectly with President William Ruto's interests?
It aligns perfectly with President William Ruto's interests because first we have a working agreement arrangement with President Ruto. Yeah, and that one cannot be denied. Number 2, we have experts. We have members of the ODM party in Ruto's executive. We have Honorable John Mbadi, who was our chairperson in that government. We have Honorable Joe, who was our deputy party leader in that government. We have Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa of Paranja, who was in our government. We have Honorable Opio Wandai, who was our minority leader is in that government. So those are two things. Number three, President William Ruto, and as I've been one day a member of the Orange Democratic Women Party. But number four, the biggest one, is that President William Ruto has sold his aspiration to some of the ODM members, and they have bought his aspiration. And they are the majority in that party. In terms, not in terms of numbers on the ground, in terms of numbers in the big party organs, in terms of numbers in the National Executive Committee, in terms of numbers in the Central Management Committee, in terms of numbers in the National Governing Council. They're the majority. And they have money. So that today, actually, you are just only a member of ODM. Let me just assume. I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying you're a member. But you can join. You have to join, by the way. So let's say you're a member, and today someone comes with money, 30 million, that actually join ODM 30 million. And then she tells you that because you're now in ODM, I'm giving you another 30 million, join our faction. That is the President William Ruto's faction. So it is aligning perfectly because they have power, they have money, and we have some of our members inside there.
Is this the first sign that ODM's top decisions are now being made with the government comfort in mind?
No, I think you are shaping a narrative for me. Because
I'm not shaping a narrative. It's just that because we are shocked that President William Ruto had influence in that decision. We are like, Ruto is in ODM, UDA, and you are in ODM. How do you two align? So that's what I'm asking. Is this the first sign that your decisions are now being made with the government's comfort in mind?
I want to tell you, Ashley, that in 2007, we went into an agreement with the government, and we shared the cake, half, 50-50. And President Mwai Kibaki was made president, and Raila Odinga was made prime minister. And even before the foundation of ODM, the formation of it, we had agreements with governments. Raila had a handshake with the then President Moi, and there was another handshake in 2017 with President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So we've had entanglements with governments, and actually this is not the first time that we are having this kind of issues in ODM. And what I told you earlier is that former President Uhuru Kenyatta was a member of the ODM party. Former all these people, the Kalonzos were members of ODM party. Mbadis were members of ODM party. William Ruto was a member of ODM party. So one day, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta left, and ODM was still strong. One day, William Samoei Ruto had a very big press conference together with all his members of parliament, like all members of parliament from Rift Valley, including and others, including Aden Duale and the Mutula Kilonzo juniors. One day they say that, no, not junior, the senior, Mutula Kilonzo senior, and they left ODM. And people thought that now ODM is going to die. And one day Ababu Namwamba left ODM, and people thought that now ODM is dying, because Ababu Namwamba was a very vibrant person. Ababu Namwamba even swore on the name of Raila Odinga in the impending days of 2007 contested elections. So I'm hoping and I'm feeling that we will overcome this, but I know for sure that maybe we will support President Ruto for 2027 as a party, but the pace, we are just not the pace. We're just not so comfortable with the pace that these things are taking.
So if you cannot shield your own Secretary General from external pressure, how can you claim to shield Kenyan from executive overreach? From the executive overreach?
You see, there's something called grafting, and what I think, Ashley, is that ODM is in a point of transition, and ushaona nyoka Sometimes nyoka inatoa manyoya, inaanza upya. I think ODM is in a precarious time. And what I know is that for us to come out of this safely, we will have to go to an internal meeting, even for 3 days or even 4, and talk to ourselves as a party and ask ourselves fundamental questions. What is our ideology? How are we founded? What is the aspiration currently? What is our aspiration for the future? What is the state of our youth league? What is the state of our women league? How do you want to see this party 30 years to come? So that we renew our hopes and we renew our ideology. I think this deeply, that we are kind of off track. Off track because of the differences. Because if we profess the same ideology, or if we claim to profess the same ideology, then we cannot be talking from different sides of the mouth. And even if it was talking from different sides of the mouth, it couldn't have been that intense. That we disagree severely on something, yet our ideology is one. So I think we need a retreat as a party and have a conversation. So after that, we will shield Kenyans. But currently, I think I cannot claim moral authority that yes, we can, but we are trying. You saw Kitangela. Did you see us?
Yeah, I did see you pull the mask.
So
you did pull the mask.
Didn't we talk about the issues of the people?
You did.
That is also our party. Why are you speaking as if we are only on this side?
But when you started the show, you mentioned something. You said that Ruto is just a joke, and thank you.
Did I say Ruto is a joke?
No, you did not say it's a joke.
You want Ruto to look for me.
I did not say it's a joke. You said his statement was a joke, and you said you had other issues that were more pressing and more concerning than discussing what President Ruto said. But right now, you're just saying you should sit down as a party and discuss this rift. Are you contradicting yourself, or what's happening?
What I did say, and I don't want to be a politician who deflects or deflects. Ruto was there, and authoritatively so, because that was a celebration of 20 years since the founding of ODM. And former Prime Minister Raila Odinga had invited President Ruto to that function before he departed. So Ruto was there as a founding member, and we expected President Uhuru Kenyatta, and we expected Kalonzo Musyoka, and we expected all the others, including Najib Balala, and Joe Nyaga. But Ruto came, and I think it was in jest. I think he was joking. But in politics, you also you also need to know when to crack a joke, when to say this. Because Sifuna alikuwa amesema, mimi I don't recognize President Ruto. So he had to reply. But then because that was not his function, he couldn't reply with harsh words or blah, blah, blah. So he had to tell Sifuna, you know me, I was here before. Like even myself. There are things that when I think someone offshore asked me about Kasmuel. Well, there are things that when we met with Kasmuel on a table and we were discussing, and he was telling me, Davis, we need to do this like this. I was telling him, bro, you just come and you're telling me this. Unaona, I've been here. I know this. So it is something that is instinctive. It just comes out naturally. So I think that was a joke from President Ruto, but he wanted to ease the tension between him and Sifuna. So what did you ask me? But what I can say is that that was a joke. It was a joke. But now when things prolonged, we started taking keen notice of what was going on. Because we started seeing people printing President Ruto's t-shirts, President Ruto's images on our t-shirts, and we started taking notice. We started seeing people talking about two-term when the party have not passed any resolution that we are going to support President Ruto, and we started taking notice. We saw people riding with President Ruto on our events, and we started taking notice. When we were doing the by-elections, we started seeing people talking about Ruto, and we started taking notice. So as time progresses, we have to ask these questions. Yes, but I don't think it stemmed from that, because that one to me was a joke. I don't think everything stemmed from that. Yes.
Now let's dive into the youth. Now you being the youth lead rapporteur. So as the ODM youth league rapporteur, can you assure that young party members that their party is not being steered by the forces outside the ODM?
You see, it will depend on the youth. It will depend on the youth themselves. You see, I cannot go and assure them.
But you are their leader.
No, what I'm saying, what I'm saying is, it will depend with what they want. If they say, Davis, we don't want us to be entangled with ODM, and actually I've told you the Youth League is meeting. The Youth League leadership countrywide is meeting today in Machakos and tomorrow, and they will also read a resolution of what they have agreed. So what I think, Ashley, is that it will come from the party members. And that's why, if you are so careful, you've heard Honorable William Odinga from day one has been talking about, let us call an NDC. NDC, National Delegates Conference. This is again a boardroom with 15 members, 45 members. If the National Delegates Conference of the ODM party is called, it will fill ile Kasarani Stadium. Yote ijai. Because now all the delegates from the country for ODM will be there. And they have to make a decision for themselves. So what I want, Ashley, and I've even written proposals to the party, is that we get these issues, we get answers from the people. Then after that, we can make a decision if we are going with Ruto, if we are going with Kalonzo, or if we are going it alone with Sifuna, or with Mili, or with Joe. You can pull Joe from government and tell him, Joe, we want you to be our president. So I think it should come from the people. It shouldn't come from me.
Okay. So will the ODM Youth League defend internal dissent and party autonomy, even if that means confronting senior leaders?
It will depend with its members, and they're sitting today. So the members will decide. Do they want to take this route? Do they want to take this route? Do they want to take this route? If they resolve that as a youth league, we support party leader Oburu Odinga, and we will support any resolution that he passes, that will be the decision of the ODM Youth League. And just me, one person, I cannot negate that kind of decision. If the members say, no, we need to slow down this pace and have an internal talk, that will be their position. So it will all depend with a sitting of all the members of the Youth League. But if you want my opinion, I can tell you. But if you want an opinion of the Youth League, if you want an opinion of the Youth League, they are sitting today, and it will be news, it will be televised.
As we wind up, what's now next for ODM? Is it breaking apart, or is it a rebirth? I
wrote it yesterday on my Facebook. What next? That's a very serious question, actually. That's one of the most serious questions, actually. I wrote it yesterday on my Facebook, and what I said is that I'm appalled by us not uniting as a party, because I actually wrote another post 3 weeks ago, and I told the party, unite now, or we will perish. And they didn't, or some tried. I think Millie Odhiambo, the Otiende Amolos, the Ida Odingas tried to bring those heads together to come up with a truce, but they couldn't. So what happens 3 weeks later is that the gaps have widened. So what I told them as what next? You know, actually, I'm an analyst. If you want to vie for position, you can call me. I can help you analyze your politics. So what happens is this. There is ODM Linda ground. For ODM Linda ground, what next is very simple. They have to go to that negotiating table with President Ruto and demand to be given 50% share of the next government, and to be given, most importantly, the deputy president seat. Then they can come back to us and say that this is what we negotiated for. We negotiated for a 50-50 government and deputy president. Then people will hear them. People will have fair eyes on them. That is ODM Linda what? Linda Ground. That is the team that was in Tononoka yesterday. Number 2, ODM Linda Mwananchi. That is the Kitangala team. What they have to do is they have to rebirth a new ODM. Yes, they just have to rebirth a new ODM. They can call it ODM New Generation or ODM Renewed. And then they scout all the young leaders of the nation, the young aspirants from all the corners of this nation. And then under the guidance of, now the senior most person there is Orengo. Under the guidance of Orengo, they form the ODM New Generation, and then they review their ideology, and they review their values, and they give themselves a leadership, and they say that, let's say Sifuna is going to be the party leader, because Orengo is going to be the patron, we are putting Babu as a deputy and Winnie somewhere, Caleb Amisi as secretary general somewhere, and then this is our logo and this is our slogan, and we are starting a new ODM. So that after they have recruited everyone young who have been sidelined, you know, people have been crying about ODM sidelining them during the nominations process. They recruit all of them, they renew their ideology, then they build up, they give us a secretariat, then they have a presidential candidate in 2027 as they aim for 2032. So number 1, ODM Linda Ground, do what? Bargain for half government and deputy president, ODM Linda Mwananchi. But now the ideal thing is ODM Unite. That is where I am. That can we come together, all these factions, and unite and forge together. Yes.
Thank you so much for your insights. And hopefully moving forward, there will be no more big words like erosion, rather confusion. I was your host, Ashley Wanjiku, and thank you so much for tuning in Political Ringside. Thank you.